I am yours, Daphne. I have always been yours.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most swoon-worthy scenes from our favorite period drama Bridgerton and its spin-off. This author shall tell all, and with spoilers.
What if I did have feelings for you?
What?
Number 30, Colin and Penelope's dance. Before season 3, there was this dance.
Pen.
Colin! I did not know you would be here.
Sorry to disappoint.
In the first 2 seasons, Penelope's love for Colin has been an unrequited one. Or has it? Colin's obvious soft spot for Penelope reared itself as early as season 1, when Penelope was still a wallflower subject to the other society girls' cruel mistreatment.
Mr. Bridgerton, I believe you owe me a dance this evening, and I have only one more space remaining on my card at present.
How convenient.
Penelope, I did not see you there.
Colin's response to their disrespect is to ask Penelope for a dance. It's heartwarming to see Colin's chivalric protectiveness, even if it is only still on the friendship level. It also showcases their bond and establishes a firm foundation for their eventual love story in season 3.
Now, will you please do me the honor of joining me on the dance floor, Mrs. Bridgerton?
Number 29, Violet and Marcus. This Bridgerton mama definitely needs more love. Violet's marriage to Edmund was clearly a love match, one cut tragically short with Edmund's unexpected death. But this is Bridgerton, and love is all around.
I believe this is yours.
Thank you.
In season 3, Violet makes friends with Lady Danbury's brother, Marcus. A widower as well, Marcus and Violet instantly connect over their grown children, and their attraction is undeniable.
Save a dance for me at the next ball.
The Dagworth Finch Ball, yes. That would be most adequate.
Also, it's beyond cute when Violet starts stumbling over her own words, especially since she also got tongue-tied the first time she met her husband. Her garden is blooming, all right. Let's hope Violet found a new gardener to take care of it.
That is something I myself have not given up on finding in my second act.
Number 28. Will and Alice make their own rules.
Must we attend tonight's ball?
What is the rule?
We can do whatever we want.
Hard-working tavern keeper and boxer Will Mondrich was introduced in season 1 as a friend of Simon, Duke of Hastings. Happily married to his wife Alice, Will's fortune takes an unexpected turn for the better in season 3, when a departed aunt leaves her entire estate to their son.
We've made use of our advantages, but everything up until now we have worked for, and I cannot stop thinking, what have we done to earn this?
Nothing. The same as every Viscount and Earl and Baron out there. Absolutely nothing. But it is ours, so let us enjoy it.
Seeing this handsome couple navigate the windfall and change in social status together has been inspiring. Seeing them finally grow comfortable with their status as lords and ladies and forge their own path together is even more satisfying. Everything about their relationship is #goals.
No more old lady Kent clothes.
Away with Lady Kent's clothes. Away with clothes.
But I am keeping all the jewelry.
There you go.
Number 27. Daphne tends to Simon's wounds. Hurt and comfort is a beloved trope for good reason. Bridgerton puts it to good use in finally reconciling Daphne and Simon after their falling out. While Daphne tends to Simon's wounds, Simon finally confesses why he is so opposed to having an heir.
My father cared more about the continuation of the Hastings line than anything in the world. More than my mother. More than me. And so I made a vow that his efforts would be in vain.
The vulnerability and open communication between them is heartwarming, especially when Simon is laying out his tragic backstory about his brutal father. Their subsequent argument and negotiation is filled with romantic tension.
It cannot be undone.
Then I thank you for your elucidation, Your Grace. If your hatred for your father outweighs any affection that you might bear towards me, then you are right. It cannot be undone.
Daphne and Simon still have some ways to go before they're happily ever after, but this conversation is a great start. Number 26, Charlotte and George's bathtub scene.
Reynolds, get out. Just get in.
It's amazing that Charlotte and George's relationship ever began so rocky.
I'm curious, what are you doing?
Nothing.
You're doing something.
I am not.
You are.
I am not.
You are.
When Charlotte is betrothed to King George III, Charlotte's response is to climb over the garden wall and hope no one finds out. Instead, she is caught by George himself, and the rest is meet-cute history, albeit one with several bumps along the road to marital bliss.
Charlotte is overjoyed to become...
No, she's still deciding. She might go over the wall instead. Either way, the choice is entirely up to her.
This scene where Charlotte joins her husband in the bathtub is filled with passion and intimacy. It also showcases this couple's rule-defying bond. Also, the fact that Charlotte is still in her nightgown when she gets in makes the scene even more steamy. Number 25, Colin dreams of Penelope. It was about time this Bridgerton sibling woke up, literally, to the fact that he's been in love with his best friend. When Penelope begs him for a kiss in a moment of desperation, it ironically affects Colin much more than it does Penelope. He begins to dream of Penelope and their kiss, struggling with the newfound knowledge of his attraction.
Pen, I've not been able to sleep. Not been able to eat. I can barely speak these days.
Is there nothing better than a man pining for his friend? In any case, the dynamic is irrevocably changed, and he and Penelope can never go back to being just friends, which is how we like it.
Do I have sugar on my face?
No, you removed it.
Number 24, Brimsley and Reynolds' secret dance.
Perhaps this is good. Perhaps it is bad. Would you like to step indoors while we wait to find out? Warm up a bit, it is a cool night.
Thank you, sir. That is very kind and generous of you to offer.
Historical dramas and LGBTQIA+ people are a potent, if often depressing, combination. Even in the idealized Bridgerton universe, heteronormative pressures and prejudices still exist. But this is also the Bridgerton universe, which means love is love for everyone and anyone.
Truly possible? I do not know. Perhaps. Great love can make miracles.
When Queen Charlotte's secretary Brimsley meets King George III's secretary Reynolds, sparks fly as they bicker like an old married couple. Though their love can't be as open as their king and queen's, this dance they share is no less romantic. This fleeting moment is one to cherish in the years to come. Number 23, Kate and Anthony in the garden.
You have to stop.
I have to stop.
There is no other course of action to be concluded. You must stop.
It has been you. It has been you this entire time, spinning my world off its axis, making me reconsider everything I've ever told myself.
The sexual tension between these two could set a stone on fire. Although Anthony is determined to marry Edwina, the fierce attraction between him and her sister Kate cannot be denied. So much so that Edwina herself realizes it and calls off the wedding. Kate and Anthony finally have a chance to be honest with each other and their affections. In the aftermath of the Bridgertons' failed ball, they finally consummate their will-they, won't-they relationship.
I will stop.
Do not stop.
I will stop.
Do not stop.
Thank goodness. The fact that they still try to resist, only to return to each other like magnets, only makes this love scene all the lovelier.
All I find myself thinking about, all I find myself being able to breathe for, is you.
Number 22. Penelope and Colin's mirror scene. Speaking of consummation, this one was 2 seasons long in the making.
You must tell me to stop if you do not wish for this.
I do not wish for you to stop.
Colin, finally realizing he is in love with Penelope, has proposed to her, and she has accepted. But the former wallflower still has her insecurities to overcome, and boy does Colin do an excellent job in overcoming them.
You are the cleverest, bravest woman I've ever known. You make me feel seen in ways I've never felt seen before. And then there's the way your hair cascades down your shoulder.
Sometimes we find our strength and self-confidence with the help of a loved one, and this scene exemplifies this. The cherry on the sundae is the fact that this scene comes right after Colin has faced down Portia on Penelope's behalf. Now that is true lover behavior.
You do not realize how much that meant to me. What you said to my mother. No one has ever stood up for me like that.
I will always stand up for you. Because I love you.
Number 21. Kate and Anthony kiss in the church. Sometimes a kiss is better than the steamiest sex scene. Kate and Anthony's first kiss is just perfect.
Do you love him?
What?
You told me you hated him. That only meant your feelings were strong. Do you love him?
Edwina has finally cottoned on to Kate and Anthony and left the altar, confronting her sister about this connection. With the rest departing, it is only Kate and Anthony in the church. Neither of them can deny their magnetic attraction to each other, and at this moment they finally give in to their desire.
So forgive me, if it is now my wish to suspend time, to delay the inevitable, to for a mere moment not think of what comes next.
Their kiss is the result of many episodes worth of suppressed emotion, and it shows. It is one of the best kisses in Bridgerton, and one of the most romantic. Number 20. Penelope and Colin. Penelope Featherington joins the grand tradition of girls who just adore the boy next door. It's obvious from the very beginning that she's completely smitten with Colin Bridgerton. Unfortunately, Colin spends most of the season with eyes only for her cousin Marina, but the two do still get some heartwarming moments for themselves. In the first episode, we understand exactly why Penelope is crushing on Colin when he gallantly shows up the society mean girls on her behalf.
I'm afraid I cannot offer you that dance, Miss Cowper. I am to escort Miss Featherington to the floor.
Throughout the season, he also appreciates her compassion and unexpectedly savage wit.
But do you not think the boy bears a passing resemblance to Lady Trowbridge's footman?
Penelope? What a barb.
However, it's not until the finale when he really seems to see his old friend in a new light.
You really believe yourself in love. One should never apologize for that. One finds oneself in such an incredible position and, well, one should declare it. Assuredly. Fervently. Loudly.
Number 19. Simon educates Daphne. Sex ed for Regency ladies left a lot to be desired.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the absurdity of how little mothers tell their daughters.
You tell us nothing.
When a conversation between Simon and Daphne steers into decidedly unladylike territory, Simon is initially reluctant to fill in the gaps. Daphne is insistent, though. We can't blame her for wanting to know more, and apparently, Simon can't either.
It is a natural continuation of what happens at night.
At night? What happens at night?
When you are alone.
When I am sleeping.
Not when you are sleeping.
Seeing his hint has caused confusion, Simon urges Daphne to experiment on her own.
And when you find a feeling you particularly enjoy, you can carry on with that.
Between the smoldering eye contact and the forbidden subject matter, this moment is unmistakably hot. However, it offers us a glimpse of more. In his openness to helping her, we see Simon's genuine respect for Daphne's experience as a human being. It's a modern aspect of romance that we were happy to see included. Number 18. Anthony returns to Siena. Antony and Sienna's passion for each other is one of the first plot points established on Bridgerton. Their different social statuses soon separate them, however, as Antony is encouraged to prioritize his duty to his family.
Are you to return to your bachelor lodgings across the square, or will you pay a visit to a certain soprano that you tend to in an apartment that you pay for on the other side of town, relying on your younger brothers to one day do the job that you cannot?
Of course, feelings can't be turned off that easily. When Antony challenges Simon on behalf of his sister's honor, his heart takes him running right back to Sienna.
We cannot be together. I know that now. This world shall not permit it. But what if we were to find ourselves in another situation? In a place where you and I might be accepted, with none of the shame nor recriminations that this society grants us. Would you have me then?
Facing the reality of what the next morning could mean for his life, he makes her an impulsive proposal.
If I live to see sunrise, I am free. I'm free of society, free of these rules, the very ones that keep us apart. We could go together, away from all this, Sienna.
In that moment, even pragmatic Sienna can't deny her love for Antony. Though we know that they're probably both destined for heartbreak, in that instant it's easy to get swept up, just as Antony and Sienna do. Number 17. Kate and Antony dance.
Lord Bridgerton.
Michelle.
After already turning down one offer to be the next Viscountess Bridgerton, Kate finally listens to Edwina telling her that it's all right to act on her feelings for Antony.
Perhaps the spectators might take pity on me. I was on the dance floor days after a terrible injury to the head. Perhaps I needed someone to steady me.
Kate ultimately arrives at the final ball of the season and decides that she's done denying her feelings, approaching Antony as he asks her to dance.
Are you going to ask me to dance? One last time.
Are you going to say yes?
She gives him a few excuses for why them dancing together after such a huge scandal is entirely plausible, and the pair take to the floor as a very apt string cover of Wrecking Ball plays. Hearts around the world melted when Antony proposed to Kate for the second time, calling her by her full name.
You do know there'll never be a day where you do not vex me.
Is that a promise, Regency?
Number 16. The Beginning. In one of many parallels to the works of Jane Austen, Daphne and Simon's first meeting sends sparks flying in vexation more than attraction.
If you desire an introduction, madam, I do believe accosting me to be the least civilized of ways.
Accosting you?
Surely they will try anything.
Sir, that is not... This is not... What is your name?
That changes once they have a common goal. Both hounded by the writings of Lady Whistledown, the pair decides to solve their separate problems by forming a very public and very false attachment.
You presume Lady Whistledown?
I presume she will deem us to be precisely what we are. Me, unavailable. You, desirable.
The arrangement might be fake, but as we soon see, the chemistry between them is anything but.
Here. Closer. If this is to work, we must appear madly in love.
It will take Daphne and Simon a while to realize that they're destined to be more than partners in their plot. However, to everyone else watching, it couldn't be more clear that what these two already have is nothing short of fireworks. Number 15. Quiet moments.
Forgive me, I was simply...
I needed some quiet. I've been in search of it all night.
Readers of the books will know that Francesca's story details her falling for her second husband Michael, not her first, whom we see very little of. That's not the case in the show, however, as we're also seeing Francesca fall for Lord John Sterling, the Earl of Kilmartin, after the two encounter each other at a party.
Miss Francesca. John Sterling, Earl of Kilmartin.
It is a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is mine.
Francesca had spent the season so far wanting a practical husband who will let her pursue her passion for music, and doesn't feel compelled to make conversation when none is necessary.
She does not speak to him. I am in awe. I thought one had to use wit or banter to dissuade a suitor, but simple silence is radically more effective.
Though everybody else in the ton thinks they're an odd couple, they're an ideal match, proving that a great romance looks and feels different to everybody. Number 14. Call Me By My Name. Simon and Daphne might be on the same team, but they are not initially on the same page. After some early bumps in their fake relationship, Daphne lays her cards on the table.
This is about a life, Your Grace. My life. I must finally take charge of it. I cannot afford to do otherwise. So I shall not have this go wrong.
This kind of blunt honesty does not come up much in Regency ballrooms. Going with the new theme of transparency, Simon decides that they might as well drop all the social formality between them.
If we are truly to seem to be courting, if this is to be a match like no other, then you should call me by my name.
The newfound familiarity is amusing to Daphne at first, until Simon uses her own name in return.
Which is perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. Very well, Daphne.
The impact of this intimacy is immediately apparent in the change of mood between the two, especially as we see a token act of physical intimacy as well. Though the ruse goes on, something has obviously taken root between them. Number 13, bee sting. Season 2 introduced us to Anthony's trauma after witnessing his father die of a bee sting.
Content. Do not tell me
stand still,
what
damn
to
it.
do.
While bickering with Kate yet again after their contentious game of Pall Mall, Anthony loses all of his composure when a bee lands on her.
No, do not do this. This is only a bee. Ow!
He has a full-blown panic attack when the bee stings her, fearing that she might die the same way Edmund did.
I am unharmed. I am unharmed.
She's able to calm him down in a very charged moment, as they yet again try to resist the all-consuming urge to kiss.
It was just a bee.
They're interrupted and return to themselves, but this scene of extreme vulnerability is a cornerstone of their relationship going forwards. Number 12, a stolen touch. Sometimes the most significant moments are the most subtle. Bridgerton takes pleasure in reminding us of that fact in a scene that brings to mind Pride and Prejudice. With their ruse going exactly according to plan, Daphne and Simon are pleased with themselves when they meet at a society art exhibition.
We are awfully clever.
Indeed we are.
Excessive pride suits you, Miss Bridgerton.
Pride is a sin, Your Grace.
One of the lesser sins, but do not worry. We must all start somewhere.
Their flirtatious banter gradually takes a turn, though. As they contemplate a painting, Daphne seems to recognize an emotional quality in the work, one that clearly speaks to Simon as well.
As if I could be the only person left in the world, and yet somehow I am not lonely. I am comforted, at peace.
Watching their hands reach for each other almost as if they're magnetically drawn, we realize that their connection is already deeper than just physical chemistry. It's an all too brief moment that tells us everything about their true feelings. Number 11, cracking the case.
I couldn't tell you. Not when she was still watching me. Why do you think I ended things the way I did with you, despite wanting to do the very opposite?
Though she'd previously vowed to never marry a man, Eloise finally got a taste of romance in Season 2 when she met the handsome printing apprentice Theo Sharp. Unlike the gentleman of the ton, Theo not only listens to Eloise's ideas, but challenges them, something she thrives on.
I must know everything you know.
The manuscripts came early mornings. Twice a week, usually.
Do you have the wrapping they came in?
They never came in wrapping. They came sewn into silks.
Through him, she begins to learn about the world beyond Mayfair, and how privileged she really is. At the end of the season, they very nearly kiss while trying to solve Lady Whistledown's identity.
Oh, not bother here.
It was devastating when Eloise, paranoid by Penelope warning her away from Theo, all to protect her identity, called it off because they were a great match. Their investigation was fun while it lasted.
People are already talking about us, Theo. And no, I do not normally care what other people think, but yes, I care about you.
Number 10, kiss me.
Would you kiss me?
Penelope.
It would not have to mean anything.
After Colin decides to teach Penelope how to be charming in order to snare a husband, he soon finds himself falling for her. But he doesn't even start to put two and two together properly until, late in the Featherington garden one night, Penelope asks Colin to kiss her.
But I am nearly on the shelf and I have never been kissed and I am not certain I ever will be. I could die tomorrow.
Terrified she's going to remain a spinster forever and that no man will ever kiss her, she persuades him to do just that. Although, of course, he doesn't take much persuading. In that moment, sparks fly. Though she expects nothing more from Colin for the time being, Penelope still speaks for all of us when she takes her leave.
Thank you.
Number 9. Hunting Trip. Never before has a glimpse of thigh caused so much pain.
You're still convinced we have lost our prey?
I'm convinced that deer prefer the edge of the forest. This is much too open out here.
In this classic scene, Kate ends up joining the men as they go hunting in the grounds of Aubrey Hall, but abandons the main group because she's convinced that they're on the wrong track. Anthony follows, pursuing her deeper into the woods, after all but losing his mind when Kate lifts her dress a little too high to step over a log.
You were overcome.
Indeed, I was not.
You were the one who then looked at me.
You looked at me!
Not in the way that you did.
And how exactly did I look?
When he then teaches her how to hold and shoot the gun, things heat up even more.
I require no instruction.
Just hold it. Like this.
It's no surprise that they very nearly kiss again later in the same episode. Number 8. The First Kiss. It may have only taken 4 episodes, but by the time Simon and Daphne finally kissed, we felt like we were dying with anticipation. In an attempt to avoid the increasingly potent emotions between him and Daphne, Simon decides to leave London.
Love, your grace, conquers all.
I believe that remains to be seen.
He finds he can't go without one last goodbye, though. Hurt by his emotional whiplash, Daphne does not receive him warmly.
I shall not be led once more by you from this direction to that. You are my friend, you are not my friend, you are a rake, you are not a rake, you are sorry.
I am sorry.
That is very well.
The conversation quickly turns into an argument leading to a chase through the gardens, where anger gives way to other passions.
Listen!
By this point, we were already well aware that Simon and Daphne were incapable of staying apart, but seeing them throw all caution out the window and give in to each other was an epic moment of romantic fantasy. Number 7. Chase Through the Rain.
One of the horses is gone too.
With his wedding to Edwina called off and he and Kate finally giving in to their intense attraction to each other, it seems that nothing's standing in the way of Anthony proposing. But Kate leaves early the next morning to ride through the rain and collect her thoughts. Tragedy strikes, however, as she falls from the horse and hits her head on a rock. Anthony heroically rescues her, carrying her through the rain back to safety so that she can make a full recovery. It was a shocking cliffhanger to leave Season 2's penultimate episode on, made worse by the fact that Kate still refused his first proposal when she awoke. But who wouldn't want to be rescued by the Viscount? Number 6. The Royal Audience. Simon tried and tried, but in the end he couldn't escape his love for Daphne. He may not have been pleased to marry her, but if there were any doubts left about the sincerity of his feelings, he removes them all when the couple requires the Queen's help for their expedited wedding.
And so romance was entirely out of the question for both of us. But in so removing it, we found something far greater. We found friendship.
In confessing the truth about their ruse, Simon finally opens his heart. Namely, he reveals what was so strongly implied previously.
We have fooled them into thinking we are courting. And really, all along, we simply enjoyed each other's company so much we could not stay away from one another.
To hear Simon describe how he fell in love with Daphne for her personality is almost more effective than their many sexually charged physical scenes.
To meet a beautiful woman is one thing, but to meet your best friend and the most beautiful of women is something entirely apart.
we get a couple who like each other as much as they want each other. It's an expression of what lasting love is really built on. Number 5. The King Remembers. Fans of The Notebook will be primed to deal with this heartbreaking moment that comes at the very end of Queen Charlotte. As the succession crisis looms in the present, the Queen reminisces about her early relationship with King George III. He's rarely lucid in the show, and is often kept away from the Queen and other members of society.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But in this beautiful, gut-wrenching moment, the King briefly remembers who Charlotte is and that they're in love.
Fancy meeting you here.
We see their younger selves and their older selves together, and if this didn't bring a tear to your eye, you must have a heart of stone. Number 4. The Carriage Scene.
Penelope,
I do not wish to speak with you.
please.
Finally, Colin has worked out what he wants and goes to the ball to try and persuade Penelope not to accept a proposal from the eligible Lord Debling.
Feelings like dreaming of you when I'm asleep, and in fact, preferring sleep because that is where I might find you.
After Debling realizes something is afoot and calls things off with Pen, Colin and Penelope ride home together, and he confesses that he has feelings for her.
A feeling that is like torture, but one which I cannot, will not, do not want to give up.
She initially isn't sure he's being honest, and who can blame her? But they quickly give in to the passion that's been building all season when Colin makes a declaration of love for the ages.
I'd very much like to be more than friends. So much more.
This scene is ripped straight from the books, as they also nearly lose their honor during a carriage ride. And in both versions, it ends with Colin proposing. It only took him a lifetime.
For God's sake, Penelope Featherington, are you going to marry me or not?
Number 3. I Burn for You. The allure between Simon and Daphne is almost unbearably powerful. Despite this, their wedding night gets off to an awkward start when Simon makes it clear he plans to sleep in a separate room.
I understand that you do not wish to see me, that you would prefer to stay in your separate room and endure a wordless dinner together on our wedding night.
That is not what I would prefer.
Though the audience knows about his previous vow never to marry, it's a surprise to everyone when Daphne confronts him and the real reason for his behavior is made clear.
I'm not angry.
You look angry and bothered. Look at you, you're downright flushed.
Yes, that is what happens.
When one is angry.
When one burns for someone who does not feel the same.
Given the events that have led up to this moment, it's amazing to think Simon could believe Daphne does not want him. She doesn't hesitate to set the record straight, though.
It is you I cannot sacrifice. I burn for you.
While the bedroom scene that follows is on fire, seeing this couple's earnest love confessed freely is what gets our hearts racing. Number 2. You Are the Bane of My Existence.
So tell me, what has she done?
She has done nothing, it is you. You have made this match impossible.
But I am leaving for India.
And it is not far enough.
Anthony is still set on marrying Edwina while grappling with his uncontrollable feelings for Kate. She tells him that none of this matters because she will go back to India at the end of the season. Cue this iconic confession.
You are the bane of my existence. And the object of all my desires.
It became an instant classic, one of the most quoted moments of the show, and a personal favorite of viewers worldwide.
Night and day, I dream of you. And what do you even know all the ways a lady can be seduced?
The scene almost results in Anthony calling off the wedding early, with Edwina's lack of dowry as an excuse. We can't believe that they were still able to control themselves, at least partially, for multiple episodes after this happened. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Hastings Ball. The course of true love never did run smooth, but Daphne, for one, is not easily scared.
I love all of you. Even the parts that you believe are too dark and too shameful. Every scar, every flaw, every imperfection. I love you.
Though the pair started their London ball poised to walk away from each other forever, time slows during what is meant to be their last dance. As the unexpected rain drives their guests away, Daphne goes right to the crux of all of Simon's insecurities.
Just because something is not perfect does not make it any less worthy of love.
Her heartfelt speech isn't demanding or grandiose, just a simple statement of genuine love. It seems to finally convince Simon he is worthy of the happiness he has denied himself. By the time they fully reconcile, he understands that life may never be simple, but it will always be better with his true love and best friend.
You stay, and we get through this. Together. If you do this, if we do this, then
nothing else will matter.
Now that is worth swooning for. Which other great Bridgerton moment has you reaching for the smelling salts? Let us know in the comments down below.
Go inside.
What did I tell you about you and your orders?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.